Hello, guys. Welcome to Vibe Coding with Will Melton. We're going to get into it here real quick, but I just wanted to start out by saying thank you for joining me. And I hope you're having a great day. A bit snowy out there if you're living in the middle of the country. Here in Virginia, it is sleeting, and the power is still on, which is great news. And we're going to hopefully keep it that way here for a little bit. I know this session is scheduled for an hour, but we are going to be live for maybe a couple of hours today. We'll see how it goes. Got a lot of stuff that I want to work on, and got some new things that I want to build with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it here, but I just wanted to welcome you here. If you are joining me live, please leave a message for me in the chat. I'd love to hang out with you and give you some details on what I'm building. If you have any questions, ask in the comments. And if you have any ideas for things that we might want to build together, drop those in there too. Maybe we can get a quick app built. First thing I want to take a look at here, I noticed that I have a security warning. It is outdated, but I'm going to just quickly tackle this guy, do a quick security scan. This site is not live yet. Actually, no, I take that back. I want to say that we might have published this on a temporary domain. So security still matters even for our testers. So we will do a quick security scan here. I am building with Lovable for those of you who are new to this. It's going to do a new scan because some of these things are older, outdated. For some reason, some of these try to fix all buttons don't work on this. So I'm going to click update one more time in hopes that I can do this once. All right. So yesterday we were working on a couple of things. This is Manuscript Muse is the code name. I'm going to update that because I don't want to get confused as I'm talking with you guys. I have to look at things on the screen to remind me of what I'm looking at because I switch back and forth quite a bit. And if you guys can't hear me for any reason, let me know, please. I've got some music playing in the background and I don't want that to overpower my voice here. So this is called margin call. So just give that a quick update there. And I'll do the same for this app because, again, just try to get that brand hammered home for you guys. Everything I do is rooted in strategy. So I'm thinking about business. I'm thinking about future operations. How do we make things smooth? How do we make sure that we can be sustainable in these businesses? For whatever reason, it's not letting me push that button. So I'm just going to prompt these guys. I'm not going to read all this stuff right now with you because I want to build today. I do not want to get bogged down. So this site is not published yet. So we're not worried about this one. We'll do the security checks on that later. But I do want to advance the next sprint, and I do not have my new roadmap built into this product yet. My roadmap is still in construction, so we will rock and roll with what we've got. I want to go ahead and advance the sprint for this product. Let's go ahead and tee up an aggressive sprint of tasks, move them to in progress so that they can be worked on. Go ahead and code those things, and when you're done, move them to in review so a human can review them. I'm going to copy this text today so that I'm not spending a bunch of time talking to you guys about prompts. But we'll keep that rolling. We'll see what kind of remedy we can have for this one. I think this is also going to require a new update, or it's updating right now to see what's going on. I'm going to just click into warnings here just to show you guys what these things are. Admin status verification occurs. Oh, that one disappeared. Or did it move down? Yes, React components without server-side enforcement. Attackers can modify client code to bypass UI restrictions and directly call RLS protected operations. Okay, so that's important. We're going to want to fix that. So do some checks on all these things here today. Because again, I do have some test users in here and they're potentially loading books to this app. So we're going to make sure that we're above board on all this. But it's still updating, so we'll pop back into it in just a minute. Let's see what we have here on the sprint execution for sous chef. I'm going to go ahead and click into the dashboard here and just show you a couple of things. I'm going to give this a quick prompt because I have a couple of issues with this that kind of get under my skin a little bit. So right now on the product roadmap, we have a double header where it says product roadmap twice. We don't need that. It needs to be just once. So get rid of the top header. And I want to make sure that all these interior dashboard pages have proper padding. So go ahead and check on all of those to make sure that's cleaned up. I also have an issue with dark mode where it is not readable. We're going to have to go darker on the background if that's going to work. And it's really just in these gray sections where the text is, there's not enough contrast between the text and the background. Looks like everything else looks pretty okay. Might want to check the footer. So I have adopted a dark mode version on the studio website. I'll show you that in just a second. And I've actually built a dark mode into all my applications so that whenever I am previewing all this stuff, well, I take that back. I haven't built dark mode into all of them, but I intend to, because if you notice, these apps are, some of them are dark and some of them are bright. I notice that when looking at this on a dark screen, when it's dark in the room, these things are really bright. They're really bright. They kind of hurt your eyes. So what I've done is I've created, for some of these, I've created dark modes so that the actual background image changes with the color preference there. And now in order to do that, I have to have dark mode enabled on every single one of these websites so that I can have both a dark mode screenshot and a light mode screenshot to make that happen. So just keep in mind that sometimes when you build things, you create some operational debt for yourself. I don't mind doing this because I really care a lot about user experience. I care a lot about making sure that people have the ability to get in here and read all this stuff without a lot of friction. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Thanks for hopping on today. Good to see you. I'm just talking a little bit about the love of user experience design and making sure that we give people what they want. I'm going to go ahead, just so you guys know, this was in beta at one point, but now it looks like it's ready to go. I can just hit return here on my text and it's going to put this in queue. So we can make a little bit of advanced progress on things like this. I tend to like to keep things in the roadmap, but small changes like this are probably not going to demand that level of rigor. So that's why I am putting that one there, kind of sandwiched between roadmaps. And again, since we're talking about efficiency here, I'm going to go ahead and modify that prompt that I had earlier. Oh no, actually no, it did work. I thought that it stopped coding and asked me for permission, but it didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and come back over here and just tee that up one more time so that we can keep building in this program. I'm going to queue it up a second time too, just for fun, and see what happens there. Again, if you didn't join me yesterday, I'm building. I'm not spending a lot of time thinking about whether these things are good or perfect or whether they work. If they work in concept, they work for me. We will make sure that they actually work in a later phase. Now, what I wanted to do today is I wanted to update my studio ledger. And part of the reason I did a dark mode edit on Sous Chef is because I wanted to make sure that I can get a good screenshot for adding this to my website. And so we'll get those added in there in just a second. But I want to do some other updates to this website because, the point of this is in part to be a home for all the things that I'm building. But as you can imagine, spending time doing this is only going to be viable for so long. I do enjoy it. It is fun, but I have to sell some of these apps. And so I need to make sure that I convey the total value of these apps and make sure that I'm packing value into these apps. So we're going to talk about Agent Workroom on Monday, so tomorrow at 5:30, assuming we have power. And we'll get into how I'm going to build up a little bit more value around this particular product itself. But today I want to add some value for my audience and for my viewers here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and give this quick prompt. So, in order to justify a $50,000 price tag or starting auction price on any of these applications, or any amount for that matter, we need to convey the total value of these applications. And currently, we are doing a pretty good job at indicating what these apps are all about. Certainly, the auction pages are a little bit sparse, but when we go into full details, we can see quite a bit here about the business, and we can see a little bit about the expansion roadmap. We see some details about what this is, but what I want to do is I want to bring this home for the folks who are looking at this. Anybody who sees this needs to know exactly what they're getting, and so what we're going to do is highlight some important factors in this. So we already have built in a bunch of features, but one of them, and key feature, is going to be that product roadmap that will allow them to advance the product. They will be able to take it over, we'll transfer it right to them inside a Lovable, and they'll be able to run with that. Now, another thing that I'm going to do is obviously we have videos for some of these builds, so you can get those videos. I can go dig up some of the initial prompts to be able to add that in to a library of resources that will get attached to these apps. And the other thing that I'm going to include is a bucket of time, of my time, to be able to meet with the new business owner and share with them some of the vision behind it that might not be baked into this, and give them some coding time, give them some time to work together on migrating that over. So and we'll start out with a batch of 10 hours that can be used anytime in the first 60 days of this after the sale. And what I want to do is maybe we can think about either some tabs or some kind of way to highlight the extended value in this about page. So one thing that we can talk about is a little bit about the development pipeline. And another thing I want to do is we have this expansion roadmap. We're going to be adding some of these features, and we're going to do it today just so that, or no, we'll do this on Monday, but we're going to add some features. And what I want to be able to do is indicate when we have actually exceeded or completed something that's in the product roadmap, because I want to show that, hey, we're going to increase the price on this when it goes to auction because we've increased the value here. And we're going to add things to the product roadmap. So a few ways that I'm going to be continuously adding value to these products is coming back to them and thinking from a business perspective and a development perspective, what does this product need? What do we want to put in the product roadmap as a starting place? And then as time passes, we will add to those things. And, I'm not, it's not lost on me that perhaps I won't sell some of these apps in the first go around, but as I build up followers and I am effectively growing my audience, hopefully we'll get some traction and we'll be able to actually make this project financially viable. So just a little bit of my thinking behind this, and that was my voice memo to Lovable, so it kind of knows quite a bit there. I do not have a product roadmap for this project because I built it in a day, and it was pretty well done whenever I wrapped it up, and I haven't really had a lot of new ideas to build around this, but I have lately been thinking a little bit about what we could do to make sure that we convey total value, as well as ensure that we are advancing things. So I do think that my world is all about leaving it better than I found it. So I do think that there's always room to make things better, and I like to think that we should be spending time doing that. I also like to build new things, so it can be a little bit of a balance to be had there. So if you are joining us for the first time, my name is Will Melton. This is Will Melton Studios, what you're looking at right now. This is my website. We're just making some updates here so that we can get a couple of new apps onto it. I am sitting here looking at dark mode, and it's still a little bit lacking there, but it's better than it was. So I think we'll be able to take a screenshot of that for our website. I do like the light mode on this one. I think it looks pretty easygoing, looks pretty welcoming. I like the colors. It's calming. So I have this cup of coffee here that I've been hanging out with you guys for about 15 minutes now, and the coffee is getting cold. So I'm going to be coming back to this here in just a minute. Now, notice this. We just advanced a couple of different roadmaps, I believe. Yep, we did. And it seems like it kept going through it. Now, I'll go take a look at the roadmap here in a minute. It says 9 items under review, done, released. I don't know what the difference between done and released are, but I guess maybe done for this is sitting in the roadmap. We'll just talk to it. Are there any outstanding roadmap items? If there are, go ahead and push them into a final sprint. We want to get testing. So my background music, I snag from Envato Elements. I've been subscribing to that for years now. They're not sponsors of this by any means, but I do pay a subscription to get access to unlimited assets for pictures, videos, music, lots of different things. So I pick a vibe and we rock and roll. So last session was some meditation music. Today we're going for a little bit of lo-fi, trying to bring up the beat a little bit. It says the development backlog is empty. Everything has been coded and it's awaiting testing. I'm going to go ahead and let this. It says that I want to sometimes these make some good suggestions of things that aren't in the roadmap, and I'm going to go ahead and let those two ride. I'm going to also give this another prompt here. I want to make sure that we've covered all of our bases. So take a look at all of the code, the databases, and the edge functions, and let's see if there's anything that we've missed, anything that is not there that is potential improvement. I think that there's some room to improve the user experience on the back end, and right now I can see sort of the different areas for customer and chef, and I think that makes sense, but I almost feel like the customer dashboard is a bit overwhelming. It's a little bit long, so we could break that up into a more logical way. I also want to move the product roadmap down to the very bottom of the menu under admin, and I want to eliminate the home navigation from the top so that we can save some space there, because we do have the logo at the top of the dashboard that takes us to home. I'm mostly interested at this point in new features that we might add given what we've built so far. All right, now I did add a test key for Stripe in here yesterday, so we might want to play around with just seeing if folks can actually sign up for this. Of course, from a business perspective, we wouldn't be able to put this online if we did not have chefs, and so there's going to be some real marketing work that would be needed to get this going. My play here is, for a lot of these apps actually, not just this one, is I envision an entrepreneur who might take this over, somebody I know who is potentially interested in starting a business or has expressed an interest in starting a business that might be adjacent to this. And I keep them in mind as I build, and I try to think about ways that we can create a fast on-ramp to them starting the business that they have said that they want to start, or creating a tool that might help them accelerate their business growth or innovate their business in a way that others might not be able to. So I fully expect that there might be some people out there that are perfect sweat equity partners for some of these deals, and we can bring them on to have them do some of the magic so that the value is there and the business can actually start. I do not have the time to become a chef, and I do not care to learn how to think about meal planning, so that's why I'm building this. I need somebody else to help me with that. And I do like, notice here it took a screenshot. That's pretty cool. This makes me wonder if I might be able to get Lovable to take a screenshot of the home pages of these other websites. All right, so now I want to read this plan. While these other guys are working over here, I'm going to take a look at what this is saying. All right, so the work here to be done is to improve the value, clarity, what buyers actually get, consultation, roadmap, progress tracking. So we're going to show our progress as we move through these apps. I'll have to figure out if we're going to be able to automate that. I probably can. I know I can. I just have to create an API to connect the other app or dashboards to this one. I've already created sort of a connector for Asana that will connect into our instance of Asana, so this would be something that could make sense. As I grow my app pipeline, that might be something that we're going to do. So I'm going to leave a voice memo on this in just a second, but let me do that first while I have it fresh in my mind. So I don't have a product roadmap in this product, so that's not going to work. Okay, we'll come back to that. So I'm pausing here for just a minute because I want to capture something that is going to be important later. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick voice memo on my phone because this is another way that I can ensure that I'm not losing important details. So you'll be able to hear me with this little prompt here. So I want to make sure that we have a memorial of this task that we want to add here a little bit later to Will Melton Studio. First of all, we're going to create the placeholder files for the product roadmap so that we can get that wired up into this product so that we can continue to build. We're going to have some new enhancements that we want to add. One of those enhancements is to take the roadmap that we already have and improve it so that it ties in with the product roadmaps for the other apps that I'm building. That way I can actually track the progress of the app in this application so that my buyers can see everything that's been done and everything that's going to be done. And I might choose which of those things are public versus which ones stay private, just to maintain some of that value and keep it hidden and make sure that we're keeping the value intact. So product roadmap addition, product roadmap enhancement, and then we're going to connect the roadmaps to the other roadmaps for automation in the process of adding apps to this website. Is it possible to automatically capture the screenshots of the light mode and dark mode version of these apps that I'm loading to this application? The idea would be that I would give you the URL and save it, and you would go get the screenshots for me. So if you're listening to my little readout there, what I'm trying to do is accelerate the pace of getting these projects into my studio. It takes a little bit of time to come through and get the screenshots for each of these. It takes a little bit of time to take the concept of it and build up the descriptions and everything. I'm using AI to do all of it, but it still takes a little bit of time. So I can create some tools inside of here to be able to accelerate that. So I'm going to just quickly go to the admin dashboard here and see what we've got. I'm going to say chat on this one because I want to just let it tell me what it can do before I build anything. I don't want it to build that yet. All right, so what I wanted to do is come in here and just click New App and see what we have. So what I might end up doing here, instead of trying to code something, is come up with a prompt that I can give Lovable. No, I think I do want to actually, I do want to build something in here to make this a little bit easier. So I don't remember if I have cloud turned on for this, but we will turn it on because it's going to save me a ton of time. I'm going to stop this. I would like to accelerate the pace of adding apps to this studio. My idea is that we would give you a URL of a public website, and you would visit that URL, or AI would visit that URL. Maybe we use the scraper function and capture the information about what it is, automatically categorizing that, and populating the tagline, the summary, the description, and even capturing the screenshots of the hero section of the homepage in dark mode and light mode based on a URL, entirely based on a URL. I want to do as little work as possible to get these projects added. So I'm always learning when I do this work, I'm constantly trying to figure out how to be faster and more efficient, but I'm also hitting roadblocks and thinking of sort of the value case is always the value case for me is how are we going to market and what are we doing to help people? Obviously, these live sessions are the value case here is that we're teaching folks how to get in here and be an entrepreneur and build the things that they want to build so that they can make some money in the world and they can empower themselves and create wealth for their family. But the value case is also a platform, so a place where I can go to make sure that I'm bringing attention to the things that I'm doing and potentially finding some buyers, finding some different audiences, getting some ideas from some of you. I am just looking for a couple of extra things that we can do to tighten up security on this guy. I also know that there's one other thing I want to do here. This is weird. On the dashboard, I want the margin call logo to be left aligned. It's been bothering me for a couple of days as I've watched this with you guys. Okay, so yesterday we did a little bit of work here on the audio transcript function. And the way that this is going to work now, hopefully, is that it will allow us to transcribe or to generate the audio for this and save individual audio files of these different paragraphs. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to do what we told it to do. And before I go burning any more 11 Labs credits, I'm going to actually ask it what it is going to do when I tell it to generate audio. So I'm about to test the generate audio feature because I no longer have the ability to listen to yesterday's generated audio. It seems to have been lost somewhere in the mix. But before I do test that, I want to have you tell me exactly what is going to happen with the 11 Labs API and how I can expect the interface to work for the user so that we can see in this app, we can know beforehand if it's what we asked for earlier. We'll put the chat on there because again, I don't want to have it code something because we don't have a problem. We just want to know. Do a little bit of maintenance over here on our music. See if I can't get this to loop. have some continuous music as we move through this 2-hour session. Oh, and I just realized this thing is the queue is not on, so it's not running. So I'm gonna click that really quickly to let it ride. If you're new to this program, this is Margin Call. Margin Call is an application for authors to organize their book and invite in their coaches and editors to help them finalize that. And their pitch is here as well, so they can start with a pitch and kind of work on it in this. We're going to add some features later that will enable authors to have a bit more, a little less friction in authoring. One of the things that I do is just record myself telling stories and capturing ideas. And sorry, I'm sidetracked here, so I lost my train of thought on what I was telling you. But oh yeah, so I like to have these. I have these audio files that I would like to upload and have transcribed, and then cleaned up and kind of reformatted just a little bit for the sake of speed and getting those things to page. That's how I've been writing my book so far, and there have been times that I've used AI to do a little bit more of the writing, and that's been not so preferred. And so I'm really focused with this app on organization and analysis for redundancy so that we can focus entirely on the content, which should be human generated for true value to be created. Okay, so this is telling us what's going to happen. I'm going to select a section on the left pane. It's going to tell me how many characters it's going to generate. The button shows a loading spinner and says generating audio. Changes and play. Behind the scenes, it's calling 11 labs, uploading to storage. Okay, so the one thing that I'm not seeing here is the explicit chunking of TTS for paragraphs. I want to be at the paragraph level with this so that we can regenerate only paragraphs. I know we're not separating out by paragraphs at this point, and that is actually something that we might want to be able to do. For instance, I have several paragraphs just in this section, and maybe I want to move some of those paragraphs around in the section. Right now I have to copy and paste. It would be a lot easier if we could see each paragraph as its own little block to be moved around. But also, that could be the separator for each of the different audio files so that we are, again, preserving as much audio as possible for things that are good, and then only regenerating whenever we've updated some text and want to hear what that sounds like. Can you make a work plan that enables us to refine this just a bit more before we use any more translation credits? Okay, I'm going to let that ride, and we'll come back in here to Will Melton Studio, see where we're at. This is just a question, and chat mode's on, so I'm going to let that ride. Let's see what this says. Let's take a look at one of these guys. Okay. One adjustment that I need to make to the app cards is that the changes we just made, the tabbed views where we're showing people what they get, and perhaps that's the only one, is the what you get. maybe we turn on and off what you get in roadmap based on what we want to do there. But I think if something's not for sale, or yeah, I think if something's not for sale, then perhaps it's not something that needs to have a what you get at all. And then maybe the roadmap is something that we can share if we want to. Again, some of these things are public builds that aren't going to they're never going to be for sale. They're owned by customers of mine or by nonprofits like AI Ready RVA. So I think that we just need to have that flexibility. I'm just reading this work plan. I like this. This is smart. And so here's what I'm going to share with you here. I'm going to let this fix this other plan first. Because I just want to make sure that what we're building works and is smart. But I'm going to go over here. I want to check out admin. I actually have some new video that has been published, and I wanted to just make sure that it's pulled in. It's supposed to automatically sync, and right now it is not syncing automatically. So we're going to do a quick sync here and pull down my latest sessions. It's actually pulling in future sessions. But this is the one, let's see, this is the one from yesterday. A couple of things on vibe coding sessions. I want to automatically sync every day, and I also want to not display future sessions. I only want to display the previously recorded sessions. This conditional tabs change was pretty quick and easy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back up to this work plan, because what I was going to share with you is that I could have prompted Lovable to go and add these new apps to my my tool here, but that's going to take time. So what I'd rather do is build this tool that's going to automatically capture all this stuff for me, and that way I can just populate a link and speed it up. So what I think I'm gonna have to do is delete these future sessions. This is right now, I believe. This is right now. Could be wrong about that, but this was yesterday's. We'll double check that. All right, so I'm just going to capture a couple of details. Right now, I can tell you that this is not actually capturing my 103.56. It's not capturing my timestamps on these, and I'm not sure. This has been one of the easier ways for me to know which one it is, because they have very similar backgrounds. So that's something that I'm working on too, is trying to change these backgrounds up so that we have a good, clean build there. Now, let's see. We'll just hang out with this one and let that come back to that maybe a little bit later. But I do at least have the session in there. And what's going to be important here is that we tie this video into the new thing that we built. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this prompt in here that we were going to build earlier. I'm bouncing around just a little bit in my ADD brain. And I want to get a little bit further along here. So we're just going to let that one go. It's going to go ahead and build. So it's coming down pretty heavy out there. If you're here in the Richmond area or really any place here in the middle of the country, you're probably getting dumped on. Stay safe out there. Don't go out if you don't have to. So one of the things that I'll share with you here is there are somewhere in here I can see some of these add-ons and connectors that you can get to be able to do different things inside of this. So knowledge base from Perplexity is something that we're working on in a different application. Supabase, Firecrawl, 11 Labs, all these connectors are things that Shopify is enabled there too. So I think that there are definitely some ways that you can think creatively about how to build here. I'm particularly interested in this Shopify build here. I'm going to think a little bit more about that because I've not done an e-commerce store. I have sold digital products through these tools, but I've not actually built an e-commerce store itself. I am going to build something interesting today, though, as a bonus. Get into that in just a minute, but I wanted to, as a primary objective, get my studio up to date because I told you guys I've probably got about 10 apps right now, and it only says I've built 6, and I want to make sure that this is a little bit more accurate. Now, one thing I will tell you is that I haven't really been putting apps in here that you can't go to, you can't visit. So I've been kind of waiting to purchase a domain before I actually publish anything. Always thinking about the marketing aspect of this. Now, while this is going, I'm going to close out of these guys and just check out my other windows to see where I'm at. This is giving me a good work plan for a paragraph level TTS breakdown, the paragraph detection, update the edge function, player updates, paragraph drag and drop, UI enhancements. Okay, all this stuff is good. So, the thing I've been doing with this is like, I know what I want. I know what's going to make my life easier, but I don't know exactly how it's going to look. I don't know exactly what to build. And so I build a little bit, kind of like Legos, and see what it looks like, and then start to play around and start to feel where I feel friction and frustration. And I go to work making those things better, trying to find a new avenue, a new pathway, a new process that is going to lift the burden. I feel like that's what AI is designed to do. It's not designed to think for us, it's designed to think with us. And it's designed to do a lot of the heavy lifting of moving information around and writing code. So, try to think about how you can do that as efficiently as possible, and you'll find success in all of this. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Will Melton. I am the CEO and founder of Exponent 21. We are a digital marketing firm, and we do everything from create brands, to build websites, to online campaigns. Our claim to fame is being able to get clients to show up in large language models for queries that are related to what their business is about. We can help businesses grow by outsized margins. It's a little bit hard to talk about because it's hard to predict exactly what we can do, but we can do quite a bit with a very targeted investment in AI SEO. So, a little bit about me. I build because I am an ideas person. I've got too many ideas. I don't have enough time to execute on them. But as AI has come to be, I've found that I can use it as a partner to think and build. And as I get more comfortable with the tools and I'm able to learn them and, be expert in using them, I'm able to ultimately create a lot in such a short amount of time. I figure, why not just build everything that comes to my mind? And who's stopping me? I need a little bit of lovable credits to make it happen. I'm burning through them, but I have found a way to be as efficient as possible, so I'm getting the most bang for my buck out of this tool. All right, I'm just going to tell it to proceed with the next sprint, be aggressive, and I'll check on my studio site to see where that's at. Okay, so I'm going to go back in here and just see. I'm going to go back to the main website, and I can tell that something I asked for earlier didn't happen. The dashboard logo is still not centered. They're still not left aligned. That drives me a little crazy. Ask for that. I want it now. Make the margin call logo left aligned on the dashboard app sidebar. Slow down there on the transcribing. Okay, there we go. What I was hoping for is, do I have a? Oh, this isn't the one that needs a better dark mode. Let's see if this one got what I want. The aura or orb or whatever you want to call it that's in the middle of the hero is too bright. It does not allow me to see the part where it says from meal planning. It just washes it all out. We need to be very mindful of the accessibility of this website, so dark mode needs to not have places where the contrast is so poor that you can't read the text. It's critical. It's critical. So this site does have a domain, and what is most likely is, now I gotta check and make sure that I actually bought this domain, so let's just see what happens. Oh. So with these, you have to publish them to a lovable URL before you add a custom domain. But what I'm gonna do is, I think I might have just missed it. Oh, it's just not finished publishing. Let me let that happen first. I'm gonna refresh the screen because I think it took it and it just didn't. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna warm this coffee up while that happens. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm going to add that custom domain now. To me, because I'm telling the world about all this stuff, I want to make sure that I protect my intellectual property. So buying the domain before you get it out there too much is definitely part of that. This one I was pretty sure I wanted. And I actually don't have a spaceship account, so this is not my domain, and I'm probably going to have to change the URL for that now. Let's see. Spaceship.ai. What am I talking about? I'm just going to take a quick look at what is in my domains because I've been buying domains lately and I cannot remember what I bought. Let's see if I have something for this. So I probably own not quite 100 domains, but something close to that. I had an idea back in 2022 called Richmond Hires. It was a job platform that I never built. I built, but I didn't launch in significant ways. But it was a multi-site build that had 56 different domains, different cities all over the country. So it was a localized job site. It was pretty cool. That lost its position to complicated hiring environment. Okay, so it looks like I have not purchased that domain, which is fine. The domain is available, could be purchased, but somebody else has decided to squat on it. Since I'm here looking for domains, I can tell you I was looking at Margin Call was another one where I wasn't sure if that domain was going to be a sticky one or not. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'll use this URL to be the URL that we test over here. And it's saying here that it didn't do a light mode. Just going to take a look at what it built. Cool. Import from URL looks pretty easy. We'll see how it goes. We'll test it here in a minute. Gotta check the security here. That's outdated, so I'll have to update this here in a little bit. Make sure that security error is cleared. All right, if you're joining us for the first time today, we are advancing the development of a couple of applications I've been working on for about a week now. This one helps authors write books, and this one helps chefs provide a service to home eaters. All right, what's this say? I'll go ahead and advance that sprint, and we'll take a look at what we've got over here. So this says it now does what it should do. I do have to test this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and test it on a smaller section. Okay, this is cool. This is kind of what I want. However, it's not detecting paragraphs properly. For this content that I've already imported, it does not appear that it has broken that content out into multiple paragraphs. Paragraphs are indicated by a line break, as in the screenshot provided. So as it is currently, we need another processing step to separate those paragraphs out, in my opinion. I also need to have the little sections be the length of the paragraph so that I can read the whole thing without scrolling. The scroll is going to happen inside the container itself. So right now I'm just prompting improvements to this so that I can actually make this be usable. If you were here earlier, I'm working on trying to make it easier to sort sections of the book. And the big thing that this does here is it generates audio that you can then listen to your book back and leave comments as you listen. So we'll need to make this mobile friendly at some point so that it can be used on a phone or a tablet, but we want to at least get it. So this is actually, that worked pretty quickly. That was really quick. Sometimes you'll get these errors while it's building. It's just because you're looking at a view that has changed. That's going to be just for you, the previewer, till we publish the app. Nothing goes live on the front end. Okay, so my app here says, hey, we've done it.
It's 11 o'clock.
I don't need a batch import, and it is 11 o'clock, so this is the 1 hour mark, but I'm going to keep going today. I'm going to work for about 2 hours. So I want to test this out. We have our sous chef app. Copy this domain. I'm going to go ahead and try to import from a URL and see what happens. Not super confident that it's going to work right away, but yeah, there we go. First edge function error. Lots of different moving parts here. It could be the fire crawl integration that is not wired up properly. It could be something that's not coded right on our side. The actions parameter was fire crawl, sure enough. Doesn't surprise me. You know, anytime you bring in a third-party service, that's where you're going to get a little bit of trouble. Trouble, maybe not the right word there, but just obstacles. So I'm going to click this enable leaked password protection. Except they don't actually have it here because it's a setting inside of Supabase, but we no longer have access to Supabase here because it's all embedded. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and address these issues because this is a published site, so I want to make sure that we're not doing anything that's going to put us at risk. Okay. Just going to refresh the screen before we submit that again. That looks good. I'm going to put a hefty price tag on this because this is going to be a game changer for the industry of home meal prep and cooking. We could seek investment from this. We could put it up for sale. We'll wait this out. We want to test a little bit. We have payments ready. We do need to test that, but we're going to just indicate all of this. Some of this stuff did not get populated, so we have some more data that we want to attach to this as time goes on, but let's just save that. We'll just say that this is going to launch in week 52. Or actually, no. I think that this is indicating what week of the year I'm putting it out there. I want to say that this is the 4th week of the year. Yeah, that's right. And what I do not see is I do not see screenshots, so I just tested on souschef.ai, and unfortunately, it did not capture the screenshots. I need to solve that problem. All right, so just to give a quick recap here, I am actively working to accelerate development progress on a couple of different things that I am building. So my app where I share all of the things that I'm building. Got a new one in here that isn't showing up because there's no featured image, if I'm not mistaken. That's why. So I will all right. Sorry about that. Just an accidental button push on my headset here. I don't want to import again, but for the sake of testing, we will go ahead and let it try. Okay. Oh, wait. There we go. One capture screenshot. One thing I notice here is I've got the built with lovable down here. I'll leave that on there for now, but usually I knock that off of there. No shade to lovable. It seems to have only created the light mode screenshot. It only created the light mode screenshot. What about the dark mode? I need a delete button on apps so I can clean up some old stuff. Okay. Oh yeah, this is good. This is good. This is exactly what I needed. Now it's going to be hard to move these things around in here because they're too long. So let's do this. I want to add a toggle on the center view where we can show either shortened versions of the paragraphs where it just shows the first or second line, or expanded versions of the paragraphs for easier sorting. When they're long paragraphs, it's hard to move them around because you don't know, you can't see what you're moving up and down with. So maybe just a little toggle at the top of that window. So just to give you guys a little bit of my thinking here is I'm just feeling it out, right? I'm trying to figure out what I would do next. To make sure that I have a smooth development and experience as a user. You know, I'm the author of this book and I want it to be great. I want to be able to, I've got some more stories that I'm going to dump into this, and once I do that, it's going to be getting me a little bit closer to the end. And you guys are getting a little sneak preview of the book that I'm writing. I've been working on it for about a year. I'm behind schedule. I wanted to finish it halfway through the year, and then I changed the goal to the end of the year, and now I don't have a solid goal, but I do have just a few more sessions with my book coach left, and I want to make real progress before that time comes. Now, I also have a second book that I'm working on. This is cool. I like this. And the second book is going to start with a pitch. So we're going to go and while we're seeing this here, my logo is still not where I want it to be. I'm getting to the point where I would want to yell at it because I have told it this now several times and it's not done what I told it to do. So I'm not even speaking proper English now. Put this logo left aligned. So where I live, I can see the highway. I can see I-95 and I-64. It's a stone's throw away. I can look out there and see right now one car. Just drove by. No cars. There's nobody out there today, guys. It's gross out there. All right. So it did it. Finally. Okay. I want to start a new project here and see what happens. So I'm working on the second book, 50 MicroStrategies to Succeed in AI SEO. This is going to be a business book, good nonfiction. This is probably going to be 50,000 words. It might be a little bit more than that. We'll say 60,000 words. Each MicroStrategy is likely to have about that much. What I was hoping for there is that I was getting an invitation. Let's do this. When starting a new project, I was hoping to get an invitation to complete the pitch wizard, but that didn't happen. It just went right into the main viewer. I think that some people are going to want to start from zero with this, and I do have one that I would like to start from zero. So I'm building this for me, but I do want to make sure that it's a usable app for others. So I'm thinking about these other stakeholders in here. We've got editors, coaches, publishers, and so some of the things that you'll see is a marketplace where we'll be able to actually publish manuscripts for publishers to review. But as an author, I should be able to see my own manuscript in the marketplace if I've published one. So there's going to be some more development work that needs to happen there. It just gave me a question about how I want to put the pitch wizard in there, and I just said, let's go ahead and give it a welcome modal. And then one of the things that I noticed about the pitch, if I go back to the dashboard and click on this guy, let me go back to this guy and click on this. When I get to the pitch and I can see all this here, there's a lot of information. And right now I can't actually scroll on the modal, so I'm going to give it a prompt to get rid of this. I want to make it so that the actual project settings is its own window and not a pop-up. And I want the pitch to be a tab in that view, because right now I cannot scroll down in the pitch modal. And while the wizard is something that we want, I do also want to be able to come back in and populate those additional sections manually in a piecemeal fashion, should that be my desire. If I don't have it all figured out right away, I want to be able to save and come back to it. So I'll talk about the full business case here. I've been working on this book for a long time, as I mentioned earlier, and I haven't finished it. My biggest problem has been organization. I have a lot of redundant content here. I've moved sections around a couple of different times. I built a framework in the middle of writing the book that demanded the book change. And then when I hired my book coach, I shifted away from actually editing the book and toward just telling stories. So I have probably 20,000 words of stories to add to the chapters that I previously wrote. And the work to be done is to organize those stories into logical sections that I've already written, reorder the sections that I've written, really make sure that this book is the book I want it to be, along with the strategic alignment. So the book pitch, I'm doing that retroactively, but this is going to help us when we conduct our analysis with AI to compare what is in the book against that pitch, and help us to have more clarity and more accuracy in analysis of that lengthy text. Now, yesterday I was dealing a little bit with cost issues. We have the TTS, or the text to voice service that we're using 11 Labs for, and it's pretty expensive. It burns through credits pretty rapidly, so we're going to have a robust plan with 11 Labs to make this a production product. So we're going to have to make sure that we are extending a credit-based system so that we're not having users abuse that costly service. So our model is likely going to have users paying a monthly service fee, and they will get X amount of TTS credits. And then from there, they will buy more TTS credits if they want to transcribe more of their book. So we'll need to work on some of those payment features here in a future build session. I might have a little bit of time to work on that today, but my primary objective today is to just get it so that it works, so that we can do what we're trying to do. I would like to finish this book, so I'll be a full-blown power tester of this. And I've already started, a couple of projects here to be able to guide me in that. One of the things that I don't see here is the ability for me to, ooh, I love that. That's so cool. That's so cool. It's not done yet, but okay. I don't see that I have a way to invite my coach or my editor into a project. I have, as an admin, added users, so I've got my coach in there, but there's no way to affiliate users with a project. And while it seems that I have admin privileges, I don't seem to have publisher access to be able to test that. So we will give that a little prompt there. So I am an admin and I do not have access to the marketplace. I should have permissions there. And I'm also noticing that I don't seem to have a way to invite my professional support into these projects. One of the things that's going to happen is when I invite someone to my project, they're going to get an invitation to come and use the software. I want to leverage that moment to motivate a purchase from those individuals. I think we're going to give them a certain amount of access to their author's book so that they can provide a basic level of service, but we're going to enable additional features that help them speed up the service delivery and enable a true full-blown service offering that incorporates all of the features of the product. That way, they become subscribers and power users themselves, and they invite their authors and colleagues into the system. I think we can leverage this to build a really sticky product that easily encapsulates subscribers from across the ecosystem. The goal here in our build is to make this as incredibly useful and valuable and powerful as possible, taking a lot of the lift off of the professionals, allowing them to focus on the content and their expertise as it pertains to that particular author and their book. Now that gets into the business concepting zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let chat think about that a little bit and come up with a work plan that is meaningful. And then I also want to do something else that I was thinking about while I was just talking. So I'm going to pause for a moment and think. Okay, so I'm also test over here on my app. I wanted to make sure that I could delete these ones because we're going to test the re-import here. Now, one of the things I've noticed is a lot of times with these React sites, when you delete things from these views, you have to refresh the screen to actually see them disappear. So that would be another prompt that I have to give this to be able to get there, but I will, for the time being, we'll let that go. This is my project, so I'm not going to burn credits and time on that piece right now. Hopefully I don't have to delete a lot of these apps from the system. It's really just for the sake of getting the successful import done. And this is going to be, seems like it's still only capturing one Whenever I use the app import function, I still only see one captured screenshot, so it appears to me like it's not quite there yet. Maybe it's happening in the background, but I'm not seeing it happen in the UI. Why is that? Are we actually capturing that screenshot? There is a dark mode toggle on the header of these sites that can be pretty easily identified. And it's even perhaps something that we can normalize. With a label or something. Right now, toggle theme is the way that these are activated. So let's make sure that before we import again that we're fully buttoned up. Now, at the end of the day, at the end of this day, I may have spent 30 minutes on just this feature, but as you consider the fact that I'm going to be building 52 apps, it behooves me to move more quickly through these builds and not spend a lot of time on maintaining content. I could use Lovable to prompt every addition that I wanted, but I think that what we just did saves us a ton of time and does all the things that I would be doing manually, and that gets us there quite a bit. Quite a bit better. A friend of mine, Caleb Snow, fellow board member, AI Ready RVA, just sent me a picture of a fire pit burning logs, barbell, and about, say, 100, 200, 350 pounds on that guy. It's on a way to spend your snow day. All right, this is thinking. Let me pop back over here and see where we're at. So I told you guys there was something that I wanted to do with this, and I forgot what it was. So let's see what this work plan is, and I'll put it to work. I usually just look to see if this is extensive enough. I don't get too in the weeds with it because it takes time to read, and again, I try to prioritize building over that. And that helps us keep moving, and I'll be able to test it in a minute and see what it actually looks like. Now I'm going to pause here for just a second and think about what it was that I wanted to do with this. So we have our general, we have our pitch. It's going to start to help us invite people in. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. Now that we have built up some new features in this app, I want to chronicle those features and really get the best language to describe what those things do and articulate those most effectively on the marketing pages of our website. So go ahead and come up with a work plan that improves what we have, not throwing away anything that we've built. While we're at it, I need to adjust our pricing model because we are going to have subscription fees that include a certain amount of TTS, and we need to eliminate TTS for free plans. We need to have very limited TTS for basic author plans. We need to add a tier for adding on credits, so like a drop down where we can add additional credits. We need to be able to indicate somehow what a credit costs and what it translates to in TTS. We need to probably tell people what TTS is because they may not realize that. And I think that our pricing is very approachable right now, but I think that the value that we create is significantly more than this. why don't we increase prices by a third? Maintaining the discount, annual discount. We'll make a work plan for that since it was pretty extensive what I asked for. Most of it's on the marketing side, but it still matters. Matters actually more than everything else. Okay. Let's see what this said. What happened? So it did need to fix the dual theme screenshot capture and preview. So we'll let it move through that. We'll let this ride. I'm going to make myself another cup of coffee here, so I'm going to take a quick break. If you're joining us for the first time, my name is Will Melton. I am a crazy person. I've decided to build 52 apps in 2026. I think I've built 10 so far. We're going to work on getting some of those apps built into my studio here so other people can follow along on those, and I can link my live stream sessions to those so that people can see the relationship between these videos and the products that I'm building. And if they're looking at one of these apps, they can see the sessions that are associated with them. So let me see if I can't find a good example there, because I should have one. I want to create some kind of badge or something on the apps in the app library that indicates when there's a video associated with it, like a little play icon or something colorful. Let me see if I can't just remember. Well, let me just do it the other way around. I'll go to sessions and we'll just see where this sessions are associated with. All right, good afternoon, folks. Hope you're doing all right today. Oh yeah, the meeting one. So if I go into apps here and let's see, it's going to be the agent workroom. No, that's not the one. It's the meeting one. Here it is. So with this one, we actually have a video down here, development sessions. And so I want to go back here and just see again. Do we have anything that shows us that as a video? No, we don't. So that last prompt is going to matter. Okay, I'll let that go. I have some ordering issues here, seeing our current live session as episode 9, and that's because we deleted some things. So I'm noticing that our episodes are out of order here. We jumped to episode 9 because I deleted some things. We need to maintain a sequence here. I also want to indicate between episodes and clips. Currently, episode 3 is a clip. It's a short segment of another version of the build, of one of the longer live session recordings. All right. Let's go into admin again and let's see about adding an app and see if we can't get it to. Was it sous chef that I was going to publish? I think it was. Okay. So, in case you're new here, I am building with Lovable. Lovable is tool that lets you verbalize what you're looking for or type in what you're looking for, and it does the code. So you guys can see this. I don't think I've pulled this up before. Maybe I've done it briefly. These are all the files that get developed as you build. You have your assets, which are largely going to be images and videos. You have components, which are going to be all the different cards and views that you see. Contexts, that's what it sounds like. Hooks are tying us in with edge functions. We've got our integration with Supabase. We've got our utilities, all the different front end pages that are getting built there. Some test things that will get deleted before we wrap things up. And you have our functions. So these are all the things that this tool does. And so you have the ability to come in here and take a look at this code. There's no reason to not become familiar with TypeScript and what it is that you're building in. But for starters, you don't need to know any of this stuff. You can just stay focused on the visual interface here on the right-hand side and have a conversation with AI to be able to build whatever you want. You do have to learn some things in all of this. You'll have to make sure that you learn a little bit about security. You need to learn about APIs, and you'll need to create accounts with different tools to be able to enable those APIs to work. Get the API keys and place them in your application in the secrets. So there's stuff that you will learn if you want to be a full-blown builder, or if you want to be building something on your own that is going to be shipped. There's a lot of things there that you need to be mindful of. So right now I'm just going to go and see what it's doing. Is it actually putting a little video icon on these things? Yeah. It's not really on brand, so I'm going to ask it to change that badge color. The video badge color is not on brand. Why don't we go with a turquoise gradient? We'll use the same gradient that's on Studio in my logo. Small things, but they do matter to me. I am a marketer before I'm a developer, so I am big into user experience and visual aesthetics. But what happened? I forgot what I was doing. Did I get that app in here? Let's see. Just clicking all over the place. Here we go. No, let's try it again. Cool. That's exactly what I wanted. Let's create the app. Save it. This is week 4, 2026. I said this is going to be 150K. We'll take on investors. Has a roadmap. Payments ready. Auth ready. Not production cleared. No signals yet. Not validated. We'll worry about the expansion roadmap later. Resources library is not yet. And the rest is good. Not seeing my app, so now I need to go and figure out why. Oh, it says it's not published. That would make a difference. What determines the order of the applications in the app library? Okay. Let's see in the admin if I have some way to sort these. Okay, just trying to get some of these newer things to show up a little bit higher in the list. I have prioritized some production things that I have out there. So that's what you're seeing there. But I think what I'm going to do is actually I want to put more priority on things that have an auction in them. So we're going to just make a quick adjustment to the order here. Let's go ahead and make the apps drag and drop in the app list on the admin dashboard so that I can order them that way, and then just update the priority based on the order. I need a faster way to do this. It even suggested this as an option. That's funny. And secondary sort options is good too, but we'll just make it simple. I'll make the decision for myself. Okay, so what I want to do is take a look at the plan that it came up with here. And I like this fact that it's kind of taking some screenshots to get a better understanding. So what is this suggesting? Okay, we have a queue item here that's not playing. That's what my problem is. Okay. I'm going to take a look at security on this because this is a published app and it is inside of my library now. And let's see, I'm going to build something new today. So yesterday, maybe about 10 minutes before I went live, I learned about the shooting in Minneapolis. And I was debating about whether I was going to say something about it yesterday, and I felt quite a bit of emotion and decided to withhold my thoughts. And I thought about it today. Was it appropriate for me to say something? And I think the answer is it would be inappropriate for me to not say something. And so we're going to build something today that I think is going to be a way to speak truth to power. So let's start here with ChatGPT. I'm going to give this guy a little prompt. Been thinking about what we could build today that might be helpful to people. So we're just going to verbalize this and we'll dive in. So I'm interested in building a tool in response to the social unrest that is happening in our country. One of the most important tools that we have as a people is our ability to speak our mind, to share our thoughts, to hold light to the truth, and to influence public opinion, to sway public opinion in the direction of peace and prosperity, stability, and I think the best ways that we have seen historically anything happen is through movements, through political speech, through messages that pierce the narrative that perhaps large groups of people are subscribing to. Oftentimes, powerful people are the ones who control the narrative that is adopted by the mainstream. They use their media ownership or their money to influence. They have PR teams that come up with slick messages that pierce. And they sow those messages. They leverage their resources. They leverage their radio stations and TV stations and print publications and digital social media outlets to be able to coordinate their messages. Well, what if we had the ability to do that same thing as a people? What if we have a tool where we can generate piercing messages that resonate in this moment and effectively echo through society and resonate with people and change hearts and minds? So what I want to do is I want to build a tool that serves as a First Amendment rights vehicle and rapid response tool to enable people to find the right words for the moment. The way that this tool will work is anyone can come to this website and generate messages based on different themes. We want to create a library of underpinning messages that societies have used for generations, spanning thousands of years. What are those underpinned messages? What are those messages that resonate, that activate people, that motivate people, that pierce, that make people feel the appropriate emotions of this moment? We need that to be the basis for everything that comes out of this. Now, the interface is going to be a generator, a message generator. And the messages that will be generated for a multitude of purposes. They could be used for text expansion, so writing an essay, writing an impassioned social post. It can also generate an image that can be shared on social media, or it can generate an image that can be put onto a t-shirt or a sign. These things will be totally free, and anyone can download these high resolution images by clicking the generate button and getting that element. We'll maintain a library of other different messages that have been generated by the system, almost the way that Sora has created a social tool for Sora videos. We're going to create a social tool for political messages. And then with the generation of each of those messages, we will ask people if they will be willing to make a donation to the cause so that we can support this effort and expand the functionality and provide new First Amendment rights tools for people who are in the streets working to raise awareness and to change hearts and minds. We need peace. We need stability. We need to get rid of the chaos that's happening. We need to make sure that our neighbors are safe. We need to make sure that we are banding together as a people. And so this tool is going to be a rapid build. We're going to get this done in just a couple of sprints. We're going to need to make sure that we get the marketing messaging right on the website. We're going to need to make sure that it's something that people can instantly use without a user account. And they can create a user account if they want to, if they want to create a library of these messages themselves and inject their own voice and their own speech. We want to make this as powerful as possible for everybody. Go ahead and make a work plan. Let's make it dark. Let's make it moody. Let's make it feel like an activist site. Let's make sure that we wire in the ability for users to use it and wire in the ability for us to tie in with. We'll use PayPal for this one. I want you to make a work plan for Lovable that we can dump into that to create this build. All right, so if you are watching, you just heard me give a 3 to 4 minute prompt to ChatGPT for an idea that I have. We're going to transcribe that text and we are going to push that up to get that work plan. I'm going to copy this text because we're going to use it in our build along with the work plan that comes out. And I am going to let that ride while I just open up Lovable and paste in to start a new build. I'm not going to read through this too much because I want to be fast about this. But I'm just showing you the process for rapidly developing anything that you can think of. Now, what I want to do is, once this is happening, oh, one thing I wanted to mention here is I usually use voice memos on my phone. Every once in a while, ChatGPT transcripts don't work. Lovable transcripts seem to be pretty reliable. I have lost one or two. And I'm going to ask this really quickly. I need to come up with some clever domain names for this, and the domain names need to be, or the domain name that we come up with does need to be pointed and speaking to what we're building, and it needs to be available, so something that's not too generic. Because we want to build this quickly, I want to have the name already before we actually push it up to Lovable. And because I want to be sure that we can get that domain, we're going to go over to GoDaddy for that. I tend to like GoDaddy domains. Their DNS propagation is pretty fast. I kind of like Common Voice. So what I'm going to do here is just do Common Voice. I'm going to be mindful of my costs. Let me make sure that commonvoice.com isn't associated with anything that is antithetical to what we're doing. Site can't be reached, not too worried about that. Let's go ahead and get commonvoice.app. Hopefully we're not in a situation of social unrest for too long. So we will only buy this for 1 year. I am going to keep domain protection on, even though I'm recording this video and you know that it belongs to me. It's always a good idea to protect yourself. All right, I'm going to get my PII out of here. All right, now that I have the domain on this other view, I'm just going to go ahead and send this up. I'm going to make sure that I get this taken care of here. All right, so for every 25 messages you send to Lovable, you get 5 free credits. I am actually gifting my credits to AI Ready RVA, which is a nonprofit AI literacy organization here in Richmond. We founded that back in 2024, and we've been working to raise awareness and money and bring folks to the table so that we can be effective at moving the needle for our region. We're always working hard but smart on how we can do some cool stuff and have an impact. So AI Ready RVA, you can check that out at aireadyrva.com. You can learn a little bit about what we're doing, our mission. You can see some upcoming events. It's very likely that we might have to reschedule this one due to weather, but we will keep you posted there. Power of Possibilities, an event that's going to sell out. That's going to happen on April 1st, and that's going to be about 500 people at the Dewey Gottwald Center here in Richmond. You can learn more about how we are going to market, how we're helping folks out. Cohort model is one main way that we're doing that. We have a number of partnerships being established, our biggest one being with VCU. You can see a little bit more about memberships and see the members only resources that we built into this platform that was built with Lovable. So all of the wonderful things here you can see. You can see all the folks who are making all of this happen behind the scenes. Lots of folks contributing to this. Got to get a new logo for Strategy Cafe there. Can't see that one. People behind the scenes making things happen. We were supposed to have a board meeting yesterday, but our location closed for the weather. So we are going to be moving that board meeting to later this month. But go take a look at what we have. Our Innovation Center is something that we're actively planning. We've got about a 40-person task force working on that. If you're joining me for the first time today, my name is Will Melton. I am the founder of Exponent 21. We're a digital marketing agency. We do a lot of different stuff. We build things, we optimize for AI, help people prepare for the future. I am building 52 apps in 2026, and I'm doing these live vibe coding sessions so that you can get a peek behind the curtain, see what I do, see how I do it, see how long it takes me to do these things, see what methods I use to be able to accelerate the pace of development. We're going to move Agent Workroom to the top because that one is one that we're going to auction off next month. And it's nice to be able to show some of the newer stuff up there at the top, but it's also my intention to have some of our more prominent and live products at the top too. So Discover AIO is a live product. AI Ready RV is a live product. Some of these are not quite in the mode of being able to take money. Some of them are maybe a little bit bigger projects that are going to take a lot. So just trying to think a little bit about all the things that we have here that we want to bring people's attention to, and where we may have some particular interests to highlight. All right, let's see. Go back to the dashboard here. I'm going to see where we're at. I think I've gotten what I want out of this now, so I can pretty easily add to this in the future. I do have an indicator here for whenever there's a video associated with something. And what I want to do, I asked for a gradient on that, but it didn't do it, so whatever. I'll come back to that later. But one of the things that I wanted to do here is associate this with the video. So I need to get into my admin area and go to my sessions. I need to edit this session from yesterday. And I'm going to go ahead and tie it in with the things that we were building. I think I did do a little bit with story tracks yesterday, but I'm not going to click it because it wasn't the main focus. I want the video icon on the apps cards to be a gradient that matches the studio gradient in the logo. It looks like there's nothing in the background of that now, which is not what I asked for. Okay, so as you can see, I like to let AI kind of do its thing, and let's see if this works. We'll say Courage, we'll do a social post. I would say that things are urgent, and I'm just going to generate a message. Okay, so the image creator is perhaps a little bit basic. I want to enhance that with perhaps more design style. We want to have it look more like a graphic as opposed to just text on a black background. Same thing with the poster headline. I want to have a bit more grungy fonts, some different fonts to use. It needs to be more designed I also think that the serif font that's being used in this is a bit lacking in that activist sort of grassroots feel. It looks a little bit too institutional, so I want to improve that. I also want the gallery of pre-generated the library. I want that to be something that we can actually see these signs right when you get to the homepage. Yes, the message matters, but I think the really important thing is that we are showing people some messages before we ask them to generate something. Okay, so this may not be done today, but what I do want to do is go ahead and get this published and give it, wire it up with the URL that is associated with it so that we can get it out to people as soon as it's ready. Hopefully you guys have liked the music today. We've got a little bit of different things there in the lo-fi vibes, some funky stuff, some trap. Curious to know what you guys are building out there. If you're watching, drop a comment. Tell me what it is that you've got going on. Tell everybody else what you're working on. Tell them where they can find that stuff online. Put a link to your project. Hope everybody's out there building, having a good time, learning. And it's still coding here, so we're going to let that ride out. But I will put Common Voice in the app once it is published out there. I do think that this is important to me, and thank you for listening. If you've been hanging out with me here, I do realize that we are at some crossroads, and talking about these things may not feel comfortable to some of you. Certainly been something that I've been waiting maybe a little while to speak up about, but it is something that I need to speak up about. I think it's something we all need to speak up about, because if we're complacent, we're complicit, and I can't stand for that. One other thing I'll point out, so for the production here, I am using OBS for my stream capture. It brings all my chats into one view. It gives me the ability to update the stream title and image. I can set all of my different audio and media inputs, and I can record and stream right from this same place. What I also have is I'm using, I'm going to get it wrong, Restream to enable multi-stream. So I'm streaming on YouTube, LinkedIn Live, and Twitch. I did sign up for the extra AI features with Restream, which give me instant clips. So once I finish here, I'll be able to head over there and get some clips to share with you guys on social media. Big time saver. And I think that this is getting closer, but I still need to work on the visuals here because this is still not quite where I want it to be. They use some simple gradients instead of maybe some actual image generation, a little bit more splatter, some spray paint, some stencils, some things like that that will work into that. But it's still coding, so we'll let it keep going, and I will continue to work on this. But if you are out there in the world, I have not used Google Anti-Gravity. Of course, now I need to go see what that is. I do like a fun website like this. Cool. I'm gonna have to learn more about this. So if you are new to this and you want to help me out, commonvoice.app is what I have put up here, and it helps folks come up with messaging. We're going to see what we can come up with here. We're going to come up with a poster headline. And then what I'm going to want to do is make sure that these things are... So it's not working there. Okay, so when I go to download the high-res PNG, nothing happens. When I click share, nothing happens. And I also feel like these gradients are pretty lazy. I want to do more image generation than just simple color backgrounds. We need to do some things that are more stencily, some spray paint, some handwriting, something more grungy. Also, in the shirt format, I want to actually have a little bit of a preview there of a shirt, not just the text. And then are we automatically saving these created images to the library? Because I want to make sure that we don't lose any of the good stuff that people are making out there. And I said I was going to go for a couple of hours today. I'm now over 2 hours, and I am having fun, so I'm going to keep building today. Get some more things wired up into my personal studio here. And we will see about this website. Let's see how we're doing here. And I think these are going to be top-up credits instead of just a monthly fee. I like this. This is cool. All right, so I am getting to a break point. I did never make that cup of coffee I told you guys I was going to make, so I'm going to go do that. And I'll come back at this tomorrow at 5:30, Monday, 26th, 5:30. We're going to do show and tell. So I'll tell you a little bit more about some of these other things that I've been building so that you know what I've got going on. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Agent Workroom. We're going to make sure that this product is fully described in Studio so you know what you're getting there, and other buyers potentially know what they're getting there. We're going to advance this on tomorrow as well. I'm going to do a little bit here today and maybe tomorrow during the day, depending on our ability to maintain power. And we'll actually talk about why this is going to be auctioned off starting at $50,000 in February. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I enjoyed your company. Please tell other folks about this. Tell folks about commonvoice.ai. Tell them about studio.willmelton.com. Tell them that they can come here and watch me live Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on LinkedIn. And subscribe over on YouTube. You can find those links right here on my website. Will Melton Vibes is my channel over on YouTube. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I did have a good time hanging out with you. Hope you learned something. Hopefully you are using this to put to work and build things for yourself. The future is going to be a wild place. We all have to come together to make it a better one. All right, guys. Happy Sunday. Happy building.